Hi, it's Richard Bromwell here from Charterhouse Auctioneers, and a very merry happy new year to you too. Now we've got our auction here coming up on the 9th and 10th of January of 2020, and we're going to have a little bit of a walk and a talk through our sales. Hopefully I haven't had put too much weight on over Christmas, the festivities. Now, Dumanica Rice whizzing around the sale. This sale, huge 2-day sale. We've got somewhere approaching about 1,100 lots. We have a lot of pictures. We have huge collection of border fine art. This is one of my favourite pictures. Now, those of you who know me and have watched these before, you know I love a good dog. This is a wonderful Maud Earl oil painting of a pointer. It's come out of a cottage from a seaside town, and all lovely and dirty, all super and original. Maud Earl, it's got a dog, £700 to £1,000. We've got this fine-looking fellow up here. He's actually probably only interesting because he comes from the estate of the late Dame Elizabeth Frink, and modestly estimated between sort of 1 and 200. We've got a Nevinson here, French bridge there. We've got up here as well, which I quite like. George, come and have a look at these. And I do like these sort of pearly kings and queens over at the fair, and I think that's absolutely fascinating little. You don't see pearly kings and queens very often. This one comes with another sort of a fairground picture there, and this sort of rather sort of a almost sort of psychedelic 60s Ferris wheel there. Again, a little group, the three of them here, estimated probably sort of towards £100, so really quite a bit of fun. Round here again, we've got more miscellanea, but we've got a lot of these. Now, this is a huge collection of border fine arts. The client has been well known to us for a long time. Quite a number of these were actually bought from us, and we've got the sort of the Appleby Fair ones. We've got animals and horses and bits and pieces. These vary in value from between sort of £50 up to probably £600 or £700. So they've all got their box and bits and pieces. So they're actually should sell very, very well. Coming down through here, we've got more pictures. This is a lovely time of the year, isn't it? We're coming into spring here. A lovely John Anthony Park here, a lovely sort of scene there of an orchard and what have you. Down through here, we've got more border fine arts. I don't know if actually some of these have been breeding in here. Through into the main sale room now. We've got sailor work pictures. Again, I'm a great fan of this sort of sailor work. If I could do some stitching, I do some very long stitches as well because it fills up very, very quickly. Up through here, big collection of Royal Dalton nursery rhyme plates, including the Huntley and Palmer's biscuit tins. Very interesting there. Lots of pictures, huge number of pictures. We've got folios, we've got oil paintings, we've got gouache, oil on canvas and bits and pieces. Up through here, again, some nice big lots. You've got architects' drawings here, elevation for a design for a public fountain. There we go. Isn't that fantastic? These days we've got Adobe to help us do things like that. Up through here, we've got to come and see. We've got a moose, this hoose. Up through here, it's a terrible Scottish impersonation, I know. We've got a moose up here, and this is called Dave. This one's called Dave, this is. So Dave's a trusty bit of Dorset roadkill there. He can't speak at the moment because he's got a bit of a sore mouth. Also of interest, we've got this huge collection of La Jamais artist-proof prints. Now, La Jamais was Dame Elizabeth Frink's son, and we've got some in the region of about sort of 600 of his prints here. And again, those of you who know Dame Elizabeth Frink, you say it's really her sort of influence there. All being sold without reserve. I think there's some in the region of about 200 lots of them. So we've all photographed every single lot, and in the lots there's lots of pictures in the lots. So if you go to the online, you can see them all there. Over in the corner here, this is one of my favourite bits. Yes, it's on its side, but a huge Arbath I was going to say shop, but of course it's a garage sign. This is a light box, so this is wired for electricity, and great if you like your Arbaths here. I quite like the little sort of Fiat 500. Well, I think they're called a 595 Arbath. They're great little fun, and that's part of our automobilia sale. We've got old Dobbo coming down here. Again, this is a fine-looking lady. She's come up from a client down in deepest Cornwall. I always find it interesting. They always get sort of polished in sort of certain points, don't they, rather than others. More locally, I found this chap in an understairs cupboard from a house we cleared in Sherborne here. A lovely late 19th or even early 20th century Black Forest carved wood bare stick stand. Value on him probably sort of £1,800, £2,000. So you've got to have some pretty expensive sticks to come into it. And also, those of you who know me know I like to cycle a little bit. I treated myself to a new bike last year, and here we go. This is what we refer to as barn, or technically garage stored. We've got no rubber on the rear wheel here. We're missing some spokes, and in fact some of the spokes, I don't know if you can see there, George, a little bit loose, but a lovely thing here. Now, generally people call these penny farthings. Technically, that's a bit of a slang word to us, really. They're called ordinary bicycles, and I'm not certain I'd be brave enough to get up on it in this current condition, but I've always fancied sort of racing one of these. Well, I say racing, probably just cycling gently, but amazing to think, you know, when these were back in period in the sort of the 1870s, when they were new, you know, they didn't have sort of tar macadam roads. It was just dirt tracks, and whizzing around this, you know, you are a long way up. Well, George's a long way up because he's very tall anyhow, but you know, you're kind of sitting right up there. You've got no brakes and no gears, but it does look a bit of mad fun. Over through here, I'm just going to pop into the cabinets now and just talk about a couple of my little favourite pieces. Again, more of the Lanjamet prints over there. Just quickly whiz around here. Now, we've got... The January sales are really interesting. This is also coming from a client in Cornwall. It's a it's a Speedy Felix here. I don't know if you can see that. It says so on the grill there. And this was bought at a Sotheby's Belgravia sale back in 1979. Now, I know that the people stood in front of me weren't even born in 1979. It's the year I went away to boarding school. But I do like. Let's watch Felix. Look at it. Isn't that great? What an absolutely charming toy. Shall I do it again? Now, as far as I'm concerned, for kids, you can kind of keep your smartphones for Christmas. This is what I would like. I think absolutely charming. Estimate on that between £200 and £300. Also, we seem to have a really big sort of Cornish connection this time. We've got a little sandwich box here. Now, this is a piece of Newlyn copper, and it's a little sandwich box. So there's nothing in it because it's about 3 o'clock and we've had our lunch already. And on the top here, we've got initials C and V. We've got a fox mask there and a brush. And on the sides, again, here we've got riding crops and what have you. Possibly, there's a very important Cornish family called the Vivian family, and quite possibly this piece of Newlyn copper was for one of them. Value on that, probably quite similar to dear old Speedy Felix, sort of £200 to £300. We've also got a huge collection of Beswick, and continuing on with the hunting theme, we've got two Beswick huntsmen here on the rearing horses. Now, the difference in these two is several £1,000s. This one here is probably value on this probably sort of towards £100. The value on this one here, because the very, very rare colourway in what we call the painted white is probably sort of should do between sort of £1,000 and £2,000. So it's interesting how you get the same pieces. So that's the technical subtleties of Beswick, and that's why you need to know what you're doing with it. And we've been holding Beswick sales here for probably best part of 2 decades now, and we've got a huge selection. I don't know if you can just sort of quickly see through here. We've got lifeguards, we've got cowboys, we've got Indians, we've got race horses. Wonderful collection. But if it's horsepower you like, and you like your automobilia, how about this? A bit of leather action now. Now, what do you do when you've got a Ferrari 456 GT? You get a matching set of luggage. So when you're driving down to the south of France, you can get everything put away in there. It's got its little key with it as well. You can see that we've got the lot number here. We're always very careful at Charterhouse not to put sticky things onto leather because that can damage them. And I've no idea what was kept in it. Probably Krugerrands or drugs, I've got no idea, but just a little leather fitted case here. Something like that, I mean, it's about as close as I'm ever going to get to owning a Ferrari. Something like this should sell for probably £100 to £200. Also on the automobilia, and estimated at a similar value as well, is a lovely lifetime collection here of memorabilia from motor racing from the 1950s and the 1960s, and we've got the owner's name everywhere. It's Geoffrey Mott. I know Geoffrey quite well. He's also known as Woofy, and we've got all his BRDC. You've got various Marshall armbands and bits and pieces. I think these are lovely. Bugatti Owners Club, the Prescott, the Hill Climb back in the 50s and the 1960s. There's just paddock passes and bits and pieces. Silverstone, the 8 clubs, there's lots of club action here. He raced extensively in fact, there's his driver's license. There we go. Geoffrey William Mott. There we go, from 1955. And just a fascinating archive. Sadly, Geoffrey's of a senior age now. He's given up driving and gone into a home. So he's really hoping that someone else is going to come along and take over the mantle of his collection. So there's a bit of a quick walk and a talk, a look through our whopping great big 2-day auction of 1,100 lots coming up on the 9th and 10th of January, and maybe we'll see you at the sale.